Okay, that's what I needed. That was kind of weird. Alright, so let's see if my pen's going to work any better this time. Oh, look at that. It's working great. Alright, guys, gals, this is going to be beautiful. I can erase this mess. I don't know why I just didn't go and clear it. But here we go. I think we left off on the 5 feet tall question. So now we're on questions that are going to come from, this is going to come from lessons 36, lesson 36. All right, and we have a rectangle, which is not going to be pretty, but it's a rectangle nonetheless. And this is 0.8 meters. This is 0.4 meters. And it says, what is the perimeter of the polygon? Well, hopefully you know perimeter is just adding this side, plus this side, plus this side, plus this side. And that's going to give us a total number. A total number for the area around. Remember, perimeter is going around something. And your area, that's length times width. They want an area, they want to know what is the amount of space covered in the area, in the enclosed area. Remember, that's always going to be, if this is meters, it's always going to be in square meters. Don't forget the square. It's very important, okay? Whenever you're covering area, length and width, and you multiply it, it's going to give you a number that's going to be squared. Square meters, square inches, square yards, square miles, whatever. Perimeter, the area around, since you're not multiplying length times width, it's just going to be whatever the answer is. Maybe it's going to be 24 or 2.4, then it would just be meters, not squared, okay? So hopefully that'll help you with that one. Now, the second area, the second question is asking you what the area is, and we just covered that because we know that area, remember, is length times width. Put it right up there, but we'll write it again. Let me clear out of there and go to our next question. It's number 7, and it's coming from lesson 7, actually. And it gives us a line. Not a line segment, not array, but a line because it has 2 endpoints, or 2 arrows, I should say. And it's going to have a dot here, maybe a dot here, and maybe a dot right there. And they're going to be lettered A, B, C, and D, at least on this example anyway. And it's going to tell you what the area is between maybe this area and this area. It's going to tell you what it is between this one and this one. Then it might ask you what is the area between A and D. Just know how to add and subtract the different line segments to get the answer they're looking for. That's all I can tell you there. It says the length of segment AB in problem 7. So there's another one they're going to ask you. For the next question, they're going to ask you another distance question relating to this line and these dots on here, these marker spots. So you're going to have to know how to do that. All right, we're going to go to question number 9, which comes from lesson 36. So if you don't understand this question very well, you might want to revisit lesson 36 and look. We're going to have a coin, and we're going to have a spinner. I know you remember this one, right? The spinner, it's going to have 4 numbers, so we can kind of divide this up in halves the best we can. And 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have a coin that's going to have heads and tails, of course, heads and tails. And it says a coin is tossed and the spinner is spun. One possible outcome is heads 2. It's saying that one of our outcomes would be a heads and a 2. What is the sample space for the experiment? Remember, sample space is what are the total outcomes that there can be. Remember, we can have a heads 1, heads 2, a heads 3, and a heads 4, right? We can also have a tail 1, a tail 2, a tail 3, and a tail 4. So there's 8 possible outcomes. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possible outcomes. And the sample space is going to be 8. Now, the probability of it landing on what we want it to land on an H2. I dropped my pen here. Hold on. It went right in my pocket. How lucky is that? The probability of it landing on H2, it can only be heads or tails. It can only be 1, 2, 3, or 4. So there is one chance that it can land on heads 2. So we know that there is a 1 in 8 probability, a 1 in 8 chance that it'll land on heads and a 2 when we spin the spinner. That isn't the question though. They're asking us for the sample space, and the sample space is 8 because there's 8 possible outcomes. All right, I want to clear that for you and go on to the next question. It says if two angles of a triangle each measure 70, then what is the measure of the third angle? So we have a triangle, and they're saying that this angle is 70 and this angle is 70. What is the other angle going to be? Well, what do you think? What is the total area that's going to be covered in this triangle? Remember, it's going to be 180 degrees total. Let me put my degrees marks here. So if I have 140 already, then this angle here, even though it doesn't look it, can only be 40 degrees. Okay? So remember, it has to total up to be 180, no more, no less. So you already know 2 of the answers. You just have to figure out the missing number. 70 and 70 is 40, plus 40 is 180, so 40 is our answer. All right, great. Moving on, number 11 is going to give us a number line. You guys have missed this before. We got 0.6. Down here we may have 0.5. Then we have little hash marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 0.7. And there may be a dot on a number like right here. And it may ask us, what is this letter? This is area C. What does C on the number line represent? Well, here we have 0.5. So 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, 5.7. So our answer is going to be 0.57. Remember, 5.8, 5.9, 0.6. That's how we do that. Pretty easy, right? I hope you think so. Hey, we're on to number 12. It comes from lesson 31. The last lesson, by the way, was 34. And the one about the angle was lesson 40. But lesson 31 says, write 34 in 7/100ths. So it's going to give you 34 and, or I should hang on, and 7/100ths. DREDTHS. Okay, very important. So how am I going to write that? They want me to write that as a decimal number, So it would be 34. Remember, the and means we're going to have a fraction, and 7/100ths. 30. So it's going to be a decimal. That's my decimal. 34 and 7/100ths. That would be 0.07, right? This is my tenths. This is my hundredths. Now it wants me to write it as a mixed number. Well, how would I do that? I would write it down as 34. So it's got to be a fraction if it has to be a mixed number. And it's 7/100ths, so it's going to be 34 and 7/100ths. Just like that, okay? That's how we do that question from lesson 31. All right, now we're on to number 13. That comes from lesson 37. Lesson 37. And it's giving me a triangle. And this is not a pretty one, but it'll do. And it's telling me that it's a right triangle because I have my box there. And there's 9 centimeters. There's 12 centimeters. And there's 15 centimeters. It wants to know what is the area of the triangle. Now remember, area for a triangle, right, is base times height over 2, or 1/2 b times h. But this is kind of confusing, so most people just understand this. Area equals base times height over 2. Remember now, this is my base, what it's sitting on. This is my base. This is my height right here. Okay, this is my height. So I'm going to take 12 times 9. And then, so I'm going to take 12 times 9, excuse me, and divide that by 2. And that's going to be my answer. Hope that makes sense for you. And we're going to move on. All right, let me change colors. I'm getting tired of that fuchsia, pink color, whatever it is. All right, now look at guys, 14 through 20. It says simply to do this. It says simplify. So we have to simplify these problems. And I'm not going to do them for you. I'm just going to show you what they are. This comes from lesson 35. And it says 0.15 parentheses 0.05. Remember, this means multiply. So I'm going to take 0.15. I'm going to multiply it by 0.05. Remember, when I multiply, I don't have to line up my decimals. I just count the decimal places in my answer. So I'm going to multiply my answer, get my answer over here, and I'm going to move over 4 decimal places, and that's where my decimal is going to go, okay? All right. The next question is this 0.144 divided by 8. So we know we take that 0.144, we divide it by 8. Now remember, when we're dividing, that decimal comes right up there. We don't mess around with it. We line it up real nice. 8 goes into 0, 0. 8 goes into 1, 0. 8 goes into 14 one time. Gives us 8. Gives us 6 left over. 4 down. It's 18. We know our answer is 0.018. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. Pause the video if you need to, and look over, rewind it, and do it again and again and again until you understand. Okay, a few more to go. This is from lesson 23, and the problem is going to be 5 2/3 minus 2 6/5. Well, remember what we have to do, guys, right? We want to get this denominator so they're both the same. So, you're probably going to have to use like 15, right? We're going to have 15 as a denominator here, 15. And 5 times 2 is 10, plus 6 is 16/15. Hang on. Wait a minute. Okay, guys, I'm back. Just realized I was looking at that problem thinking something's wrong here, and I figured out what it was. I wrote it down wrong, and that will make things a whole lot easier for us. So let's redo that. We have 5 2/3 minus 2 5/6. I had 6/5. That's why when I was doing the math, I was like, wait, something's not right here. Excuse me. And I figured out that I wrote it wrong. So now here's what we want to do to solve for this. We want to make this an improper fraction. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. So we have 17/3. And here we're going to have 6 times 2 is 12, plus 5 is 17/6. Remember, we have to have a common denominator. So we got to find the least common multiple, which happens to be 6 in this case. Okay, and 6 goes into 6 one time, times 17 is 17. 3 goes into 6 two times 17 is 34. So then we have 34 sixths minus 17 sixths is going to get us 17 sixths. Now we put that into a mixed number like this over here. 6 goes into 17 two times, gives us 12, has a remainder of 5, and our denominator is 6. So that's how we get our mixed number 2 5/6. And that is absolutely the correct answer. Matter of fact, if we take 2 5/6 and we add to that 2 5/6, we end up with 4 10/6. Okay, and 10/6 is 1 4/6. 4 6 2 4 5. Right, so we already have the 4. We have the 4 plus the 1 equals to 5. And then we have, where's my 4/6. If I divide, I can reduce that down to 2/3 divided by 2. And we can see that my answer here equals out with our original number, which is a way of checking to see if we were right. And we were. So that might have been a little confusing. Forget about all that. Just know that this is really the important part. This stuff right here. This is how we do that problem. Okay? And I hope that helps. All right. Now we're on to question 17. 6 1/4 times 1 3/5. Okay, hopefully you'll know how to do that. Very simple. This is lesson 26 in your book. So be familiar with knowing how to multiply mixed numbers. And then we're also going to have 7 divided by 5 4/9. Okay, know what we have to do to that problem. Here again, division, very simple. And then lastly, our next two problems, we're going to have something like 6/10 is equal to W/15. Remember here, we're trying to solve for W. Since we had this lesson a long time ago, this comes from lesson 26. Let me just show you really quick. We cross multiply and we get 10w equals 90. Divide both sides by 10, and we wind up with w equals 9. Okay, I'll just help you out with that one. That one's a little hard normally. And the very last one we have is going to come from lesson 20, and that one goes like this. It says m plus 0.27 equals 1.54. So all we got to do, guys, is subtract 0.27 from 1.54, and this answer here is our letter for M. Hey guys, that's it. I hope that helped. It took about 15-16 minutes to go over all that. Study really hard, have fun, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you in class on Monday, and hope you do well. See you then.